Stardust.
To get to this stage in a search for answers and justice has taken 43 years. The inquest held over the last 12 months and ending today with verdicts of unlawful killing are so different to inquests actually held back in 1982 and held over only 5 days and which only heard medical evidence.
The inquests were held at Dublin Coroner's Court in the same building as the city morgue. That's where the bodies of the 48 victims were brought on the morning of February the 14th last year after the fire at the Stardust Club in Artane. Relatives of the victims recalled how they'd identified the bodies from scraps of clothing, from items of jewellery, and in one case from a tattoo. One girl had had to be identified by dental charts, and another body was so badly burned it couldn't be identified at all.
One of the indignities suffered by some who died not being identified for decades. It was only in 2007, all those years after the tragedy, that the last of the victims were identified, including 17-year-old Paul Wade. He had gone to the disco with 19-year-old Susan Morgan, who also died. The bereaved families have always known where their loved ones died, but for years have campaigned for justice, for answers, wanting to know what caused the fire, why did it accelerate so rapidly, and how was it that 48 people did not survive?
Kathleen was 19 coming 20. She was on her 19th, 20 in that May.
Can I ask you, the verdict today, it's the same for all 48. In relation to Kathleen, when you heard the verdict of the foreman saying what he said today, what were your family feeling?
Better late than never. And happy with, that they got the truth eventually. It took a long time, but at least we got there.
It was a long wait, and unfortunately, it's the parents of these youngsters that needed to hear this. I know we're next in line after our parents, and our parents are all deceased and gone. So it'd been a nice result had it come out years ago.
Michael was 17 and a half, the eldest of 4 children. Outgoing, played football, full of life, had lots of hopes and dreams, which never got to be fulfilled.
You heard the overall verdicts. What were you thinking?
Oh, well, it was absolutely great for the justice and the truth. But really, we should have gotten it 43 years ago.
When you heard the verdicts today, a year on since the inquest began, what were you feeling when you heard the verdict?
People have been asking me that. Feeling of relief, and now the truth's been done and justice.
The jury today finding the fire started in a hot press and was caused by an electrical fault. The exit doors of the Stardust have long been an issue. In 1981, Today Tonight asked the owner about reports that doors were locked.
What about the doors? Were they all open?
All open. Every single door in the place was open.
I gather there were some shots of a door that appeared to have a padlock on it, and others with chains on them.
I know. When you get out to sea and when you're allowed in there, all the doors have chains on them, and the chains are hanging on the doors open, but they're not actually locking the door. The door can be pushed open.
It has been the source of considerable controversy over the years whether doors were locked or not. The jury today finding that exits were locked, chained or otherwise obstructed.
I've been waking such a long time, reaching out for you, but you're out here.
For years, the Stardust complex was a go-to place for young people in Artane and Coolock and surrounding parts of North Dublin.
For someone who's lost everything that he owns.
Other questions will have to be answered, and perhaps the technical examination going on behind me now will reveal some of the answers.
Ireland was stunned by the fire at Stardust, by the loss of life, by the hundreds of people injured. So many of those who survived never had counselling. the scenes they witnessed, the family and friends they lost, forever in their thoughts. And today, following a year of hearings and evidence, and more recently lengthy deliberations by a jury who gave up a year of their lives to do the state some service, have come the findings.
The verdict in the Stardust inquest is unlawful killing. Unlawful killing.
Lena Mangan, I was only 4 years of age when she died. I know the truth, and I know what happened to my mother, and justice has been served today.
Barry Cummins reporting there. Well, I'm now joined by Jim Fitzpatrick, who survived the fire, by Carol Barrett, whose 17-year-old brother Michael died in the fire, and by lawyer Harry Robinson, whose firm Phoenix Law represented all the families. Welcome to you all. What a momentous day, first of all, for all of you. Carol, can we talk about your brother Mike then? And it was on your way out then you fell, isn't that it?
Correct. I'd seen him panic, and the usual kind of there was a panic of kind of desperation, holding each other, screaming, but couldn't do anything. They were just locked in shock. And as I got to the door, I thought, I've got to go back. So went back. They were close to the cigarette machine at the time. I remember throwing them into the foyer of where everyone was, the main exit. And they were all walking out that way, and everyone was pushing that way. And I fell over what I considered to be either a handbag or a coat. But then I was being trampled. The lights went out. And after that, it was like bedlam, because it was just screaming and panicking, mayhem. And I just crawled, and I realised I'm going the wrong way, because I was on carpet when I fell. But now I'm on the wooden floor, I realised I'm on a dance floor. I'm going the wrong way. But I just kept crawling, because I just kept screaming, shouting, and I, there for the grace of God, got to the right exit.
Your best friend, Liam Dunn, you ended up in intensive care together. Mm-hmm. He didn't make it.
No. I was moved to Stephen's Hospital the week before he died, or a week and a half before he died. And when I was moved, like I just thought, Liam's being moved out of intensive care. He was moved down to a ward. He's going to be fine. And he actually said to me, he looked over the rail and said, Jim, we'll get out of this. We'll have a pint again. We'll have a chat. We'll meet Paddy and Joe and everyone else and George, because we didn't know who was alive. And nobody broke it to me in Stephen's Hospital that he had passed away. It wasn't until I was back in the Mallow Hospital that a nurse let slip that Liam had died. Yeah.
Before I just bring Harry in, what does today mean for you, Carol, and Gertrude, your mum, and everyone?
It's a long overdue day, and it's bittersweet. It is a form of justice by all means, and it was the right verdict. You know, they're not arsonists. There was no arson. They didn't cause their own deaths. They didn't cause the deaths of others. You know, so they have been vindicated today, and it was important.
Harry, this has been a very long journey. To be fair to Dara Mackin and Phoenix Law, you've been central in pushing this forward. How did we get to this inquest today? What was the key along the way?
Well, a simple answer to that question, and of course there is no simple answer to that question, is the determination, fight and drive of these families and survivors over these past 43 years. It's unbelievable and admirable that they've come so far, and they would not take no for an answer, and today's verdict proves that they were right to take that position. It came out today because it could be reported that the managing director, Eamon Butterley, of the Stardust, had actually gone to court, going back actually just before Easter this year, to try to get unlawful killing taken away as a verdict that the jury could give. Was that a worrying moment for the case? Well, It was the stated position of the families that unlawful killing on the evidence should be made available to the jury. So it was disappointing that such a challenge had arisen, but it wasn't concerning for us because we had the utmost faith in the senior coroner's legal direction to the jury, making that available. It was correct in law, it was correct in substance, and it was held up by the High Court.
Before I go back to Carol and Jim, they would like a state apology. What would that mean, Harry? What kind of an apology are the families looking for?
Well, given the amount of time it's taken these families to get here in their uphill struggle for justice, that weight hasn't arisen from a lack of advocacy, a lack of trying, or a lack of ability on their part, but the deaf ears upon which their efforts have fallen thus far. And so an apology under those circumstances and following today's verdict seems more than appropriate.
Jim, when you heard that unlawful killing verdict today, what did that mean for you?
It was incredible. Just feel elated. It was just like a weight was lifted off the families. I mean, I sit with these families and I'm looking at them. They're my inspiration. That's why I keep going. I'm looking at the mothers and the fathers there today, and to have that ruling was just so amazing. It was just amazing because, I'll be honest with you, I had mixed emotions. I don't know if I'm crying or laughing in moments because I'm laughing with glee and I'm crying with sadness because 48 people shouldn't have died. There was so much wrong that went wrong that night. It was Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong went wrong on that shift, and 48 people perished. To have these families there today to realise that they were wrongfully killed is amazing.
As you said, Carol, final question, it was bittersweet in a way, but looking there at your wonderful mother Gertrude and all the amazing families and extraordinary people like Jim, will it make your future life slightly easier, slightly less in pain, given that verdict today?
It draws a line under an aspect of Stardust as families, but it won't ever undo anything. That trauma, that grief, the arduous, unnecessary journey that was bestowed upon us as families. This should have never, ever taken this long. We should have never had to jump through hoops or beg or plead with any government, whatever party, for 43 years. So it puts a line under that aspect. But that's unforgivable, that past.
Carol, I'm so sorry you lost your brother Michael. And Jim, you're an extraordinary guy. You went in and saved two other people. Thank you very much. And Harry, well done to your law firm for pursuing this. Thank you all very much for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
And look, our reporter, Rita O'Reilly, well, she's